Hello, ladies. Here we are on another community group call. Hope you're doing fantastic. For those of you that couldn't join us live today, make sure that when you watch this, you send us a message and let us know what did you learn, if it was helpful, and we hope that you're going to be joining us, even if you put it on your calendar once a month. Once a month, I'm going to plug in. Once a month, I'm going to show up for that call because we talk about so many things right here on this call. And it's sometimes, like I said last time, is one little nugget that you need that it just takes you to a whole nother level. So never take this calls for granted. And I know because, I am in so many different programs for business and for mindset and for this and for that. And everybody has calls, right? And a lot of times I'm like, girl, even if you're there and you turn your video off, or if you're busy multitask, at least I'm listening to what people are saying, because it's one idea that I catch that it really helps me in so many areas. So I really encourage you to do that. And then because here's the thing, coming next month, because of the project over 40 that all of you that are in the program obviously are part of that, we are going to be doing these calls every week. And we are going to be bringing different guest speakers, different coaches. We just booked right now a pelvic floor coach, okay, specialist, to do a call for us. And then we also obviously going to bring Coach Melissa back for mobility sessions. We're going to have Arzine, our only one Arzine, who is my mindset coach, with Bob Proctor. She's going to come and she's going to do, a couple of sessions for us. And then obviously I'm going to do a session. So anyways, the whole month, the whole next 12 weeks, starting on the 27th, we are going to have calls every Monday. So take advantage, jump in, so you can, learn and whatever it is that you need, get inspired, motivated, get a kick on the butt, whatever it is that you need. Okay. So with that being said, today we want to chat a little bit more about macros, the whole thing that everybody loves, right? Some people love, like me. I am absolutely passionate about macros because I've seen and I understand the power behind those numbers. I understand, when I manipulate those macros, what it can do to my body if I really stay consistent with it. Now, one thing I'm going to share, because I'm going to share my screen, a few things that is going to happen in this call today. So Coach Lindsay is absolutely fantastic with macros. I mean, this girl, she hits her macros perfectly. Coach Audra is fantastic with that. She does more like what I like about Coach Audra, which is she's going to be coming on the next half of the call. She's going to be sharing how she does her meal plan for the whole week on MyFitnessPal. And she has some hacks on how to, how can I say, things are already there, like saved. And then she just click. I mean, that's not my thing. Okay. So we love that we have Coach Audra to do that. And she's going to be sharing with you ladies on the next half. I am more the, on the go kind of a girl, because I understand my portions. I understand how I needed to eat. So I normally log my macros around lunchtime every day, because I pretty much repeat the same thing, which is not a good thing, okay, for our microbiome to be repeating the same foods over and over and over again. But I try to change my foods, choices for the afternoon and for dinner. But my breakfast and my snack is always the same. Every single day, I have chicken bone broth with bread and my coffee with collagen. And every single day, I have a protein shake with blueberries. Okay, so that is on my list every single day. And then I just swap the other things. So every day around noon, that's when I go, I take a break for lunch, then I start logging my foods for the rest of the day. So that's me, okay? Some of you probably need a little bit more of a structure like Coach Audra, and some of you just love to play like I do, and that's gonna be fine too. So one thing I wanna put into your mind, because I'm gonna share my screen, I'm gonna share with you MyFitnessPal. So I've been doing this macros thing for probably 4 years now, somewhere around there, 3 to 4 years, when I truly really made the shift from eating, no carbs and just doing a bunch of cardio, blah, 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 because I was just like all of you, okay? I had to learn that that way wasn't working anymore for me, the hard way. And so I had to also go through the same process that all of you are going right now to shift my mindset into doing pretty much only strength training, backing off from cardio, and then start really working and building my calories and my macros and my carbs. Okay, so same concept. So that really happened 4 years ago. Okay, so since then my body composition has changed completely. I am pretty much the same weight, but my body composition is completely different. I have put, I don't even know, probably a good 15 pounds of muscle. Not sure, to be honest. I never really measured that on the Dexter or whatever thing, but I know my body composition changed completely if you look at my photos. Now, I believe that I pay the price. It takes time. I'm not going to lie to you. And especially for my body type, some people can go faster. I am an ectomorph, and I always teach on that. My body type is a really hard type of body to build muscle, to sustain muscle. We gain muscle really hard and we lose muscle really fast. So it's been a struggle for me in the last 4 years. I have had many injuries. I have had a couple of burnouts where I had to do gut resets and gut protocols. So I had to back off from training. So in this 4 years journey of really transforming my body, into what I always wanted to be honest with you, I believe that I earned, so now, because I have so much structure and I have so much data in my brain on how this thing works, a lot of times, especially now that I'm on a reverse diet, I'm not super consistent in logging the foods, which I believe this should really encourage you a lot. Let me just turn something off here real quick. That this is going to encourage you, because what I hear a lot of people asking me is, do I need to track macro for the rest of my life? Right? And the answer is yes and no, because you will see, and I'm going to be super transparent with you. Some days I do, some days I don't, but I never stay completely, without logging for weeks on end, because I know that we are a creature of habits. And I know that if I stop tracking consistently for a long time, I will start falling back into some old habits, and I'm going to start miscalculating my macros, okay, my portion sizes. So, but right now I have a different goal. I'm not trying to lose weight. I am building muscle. I'm eating more than I ever ate in my life, to be honest with you. Some days I'm like 2,000 calories. I'm like, holy cow. And I still feel amazing. And I think my body is changing again, which is awesome. So I'm not restrict. But when you are starting the program, okay, you are going to feel a little bit restricted in the beginning. If I don't care what program you would be, I don't care if I would give you a sample meal plan for you to follow every month, you would feel restricted to that meal plan. You would be like, oh my gosh, I am sick of eating this food all over again every single day until Patricia gives me another meal plan. If you would start with, Jenny Craig or, Weight Watchers, they all will give you something for you to follow, and you are always going to feel restricted. I believe that macros is, the thing that gives us, even if you are, how can I say, in a calorie deficit, you're going to still have room to enjoy yourself. So if I would put all the diets, all the systems in place, and I would say which one is the most sustainable one, in my personal opinion, macros, because I have tried everything and everything I felt restricted. So maybe a restriction here that you are feeling is more the restriction of, I have to log this thing and I don't have the freedom to not log. Okay. So you gotta, we say choose your hard. We always talk about that. You gotta choose your hard. This stuff it's not hard. It's easy, but it's how can I say, it's simple to do, but it's not easy, because the things that are simple, they are easy to do and they are easy not to do because they're simple, right? But initially it takes a little bit of brain power for you to learn this thing, right? And it's like you going through that learning curve. And then once you do, now you need to figure out a way of staying consistent with logging in, because the freedom for you to eat the things you love is going to come alongside the restriction of you having to log, if that makes sense, right? So you got to choose your heart. Okay, if I can eat more, if I have freedom to eat on those macros, okay, but the downside of this is to log, I'll go with that. That's my choice, right? And when you jumped on a call with me initially, I gave you that option. I told you, right now, at this moment, when I'm sharing my screen with you about macros, if you cannot commit to macros, this program is not for you. I don't try to, lure anybody into the program, you know what I mean, without, like, hey, if you are not a good fit, you're not a good fit. And the fit is this: we are macros coaches, okay? We'll push carbs on you and we'll push strength training on you because we know it works. And then we're going to look into your hormones, and then we're going to connect with the people that we are working with to see if they can support with your hormone balance. If this is too much for you, you should have said in the first call when we had the call. Okay, so I just really wanted to clean some house here, because every week it's like, you know what you need to do, but it's not that you complain, that you get frustrated and you're like, oh my gosh, was like, but girl, that's what you signed up for. You know what I mean? So now you really need to make a decision that you're going to suck it up and you're going to learn this thing, and you're going to get inspired by the people that are doing right, and they are getting flipping amazing results. What separates the ones that are not getting results from the ones that are is that they just made the decision that they are going to flip and log this thing, even if they're like, you know what I mean? They're going to hit those macros no matter what. They make the decision, and then they also gave time, because with time, you're going to see results and you're going to be like, whoa, actually this stuff works. Okay, all right, so I'm just going to keep going. I have a perfect example here, Melanie, on the call, right? We were on the reverse diet. So she came into the program, she lost tons of weight. I don't even remember right now how much she lost, but then I was like, okay, girl, now we're going to go into a reverse. She was doing the reverse. She gained a little bit on the reverse because she wasn't following. She had a little bit more of a freedom, if you will. And then I was like, okay, girl, now we're going to go for a cut. You're ready for this? Let's go. And now she's being all in with the cut, and she's like, is melting again for the second time. So it works, but you got to commit to the learning process. Okay. So with that being said, and Coach Lindsay here as well, and and all of you ladies that have watched that are not here right now. So I'm going to share my screen, and then Coach Lindsay is going to give her some options, some of her, how can I say, some tips on how she hit her macros so well. And then I am going to let Coach Otto take over when she comes in. One thing I'm going to address on this particular session here is going to be how you search up the foods on MyFitnessPal properly. Because I see that when we are going over your nutrition, we can see some discrepancies, right, in what you're choosing. And we're like, okay, this food you chose makes no sense. So MyFitnessPal has the data, right? So people just like me and you are the one that put this stuff there. So it's not MyFitnessPal putting this perfect macros there. This is just people that are adding the data to MyFitnessPal. So some of them are correct and a lot of them are not. So then how do you know, right, which one is correct? You're only going to be able to know for more than what you know now if you start doing the homework at home, which is logging your foods alongside measuring your foods on the scale. Okay, if you don't do that, if you don't scan this stuff and you pay attention on the labels and what it's saying on the label, because sometimes I'm like, I look at the label and I look at the thing that I searched, and I was like, it's not matching. This makes no sense, right? So then I'm gonna start creating my own data in my mind, and I start to become really good with when I'm searching. I know what I'm searching because I have been measuring at home for so long. Makes sense? So the other thing with MyFitnessPal is that MyFitnessPal is word case sensitive. I mean, if that's how you say word sensitive, right? And you need to literally spell out what are you looking for. Okay, so a lot of you ladies get frustrated when you're searching for your foods because you are just searching, you know, I mean, we would expect, right, that the app, I would just search it up and then it would just come up and give me exactly what I was thinking, but we need to think for the app. I think that's a way of saying this, like you got to think for the app. Okay, so let's just say here that I would go for breakfast. I'm just gonna give a couple of examples of things, and Coach Lindsay, please join me on this part here to refresh my mind, because we go, what are the things that we see with the clients that we were like, and you guys can you know, also throw ideas, the things that you're searching and that you're like, okay, I didn't know that. So for example, Christy, we had a call on Friday, and you know, the main thing with her was that she was searching, for example, banana. Okay, now mind you, my thing is going to have already a lot of data saved, so it's going to bring exactly what I want. But if she would search for banana only, okay, then you're going to see here that you have different options, right? Medium banana, one piece of banana, you have one banana, you have, right, you have different options. So which one do I go with? The one that I think is going to be the easiest is if you learn how to do, because here's the thing, if you put a medium, large, or small, you know that what is the medium for you? A medium for you could be a small for me, right? It depends on what you consider medium. And even a medium could be a little bit more than a regular medium, if you will, but you're like, oh, this is not quite a medium, but it's not large. So if you're going to be like playing this game, you're going to go crazy with it. So I would say first thing is measure first, so you can kind of have a place to compare, if that makes sense. So for example, I have a banana and I'll peel it off and I'll put it on the scale and I'm like, okay, this banana here, it's about, you know, a medium banana has 100 grams of banana, right? So then what I would do here, I would just already search. I don't even start looking for, I just already search grams because I want to know in grams. Okay, so then I'm already going to go there and I'm going to search it up. And then already gave me here genetic banana. And then I'm going to be like, okay, so I only had one, and how many grams is on that banana? Okay, this banana has about 100. But let's say that this one option here gave me 107, right? So I'm like, okay, but I only ate 100. I didn't eat 107. So you can just click there on the little, you know, how can I say arrow, but understand that on the app is going to be different. So on the app, you are going to actually click on
1 gram.
1
gram.
Yeah, but on the app, the way that that option is going to open up for you is if you actually click on, let me just open up here really quick, is if you actually click on top of the serving size. So if you, on the app, if you click on top of the serving size, after you logged the banana, okay, it's going to open up options on the bottom, just like opening up right here on the computer. Then I'll just choose 1 gram, and then actually, see, why isn't the computer so different, Coach Lindsay? Do you see how to do this?
Yeah, I do mine off on my phone, but I see what you mean. Like, yeah, the serving size you'd have to change.
100.
So
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Click on the word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so it's the serving.
you can select the serving size up until 200 servings.
Yeah, and the computer is different. The desktop, I'm doing a desktop because I can't share the phone, but this is pretty much how it would be on the computer, right? So now I'm sharing. So I go and I search up the banana in grams, and then I put how many grams I wanted to have, how much I ate, right? So then another option here, I think that's one of the things that I see the most challenge with you ladies is, and once again, bear with me because I do not use the computer to log my food. So I say that again.
I was just going to say food diary. I think you have to, go there. Or database.
So weird. All right, cool. Is pretty much the serving sizes. So for example, if I do olive oil, okay, olive oil, I want to know always by tablespoon because I measure my olive oil in a tablespoon. Okay, so then I go here and then I choose the one that is a tablespoon, and once again the same concept, right? I'm gonna change there for, I don't know, half a tablespoon, 1 tablespoon. So that's how I measure, right? So there are some things that I measure as far as doing hacks. So for example, another option here would be egg whites. So I would say liquid egg whites. Okay, so let's see what this one would do. So this one has in grams and this one has in tablespoons. So because on the label on the box actually says tablespoons, that's why I use tablespoons, so I can follow the label. Make sense? Make sense? So I click tablespoons and now I'm going to decide how many. So 3 tablespoons, right? Am I gonna have how many? I don't know, 5, because I want to have at least 25 grams of protein. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to have 5 times 3. So then I'm not gonna be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, okay, 5, 1, 2, 3, okay, 10, 1, 2, 3, right? So what I do instead, I grab a cup and I put it like those, you know, measuring cups, and I put it on a scale. I zero that out, and then I'll put, you know, the 5 servings, right? And then I look at that cup and I see where, okay, that 25 grams and on the cup, that measure of 5. Now I know every time I'm going to use egg whites, and I just pour into the cup to that amount that I normally do. And then sometimes I may be off a little bit there, but you know, you kind of know, right? It's not going to be perfect, but most of you are low on protein anyway, so I wouldn't be too concerned if you missed a little bit, right? So then that's kind of like a hack. The same concept would be, for example, if I want to eat rice. So the rice is different, okay? So we have jasmine rice, okay? And then I'll put cooked because that's how I'm eating it, right? Now, if I want to have jasmine rice, then it's already popping as grams because I always search it up again, but in grams, but there you go. I eat jasmine rice a lot. It's already 140 grams, and 140 grams is going to be roughly about a cup or something like that, a little bit more than a cup. And I do the same concept with the rice. I put it in a cup and I measure, and I know how much grams of rice I have on that cup. So then when I'm measuring my cup, I can measure the cup, but I don't want you to measure in cup until you know how many grams it is in there. Make sense? Okay. So the same thing would be if I'm going to go to eat sushi. Okay. So I would do sushi rice because it's different. Then you can see here the sushi rice has more calories. It's a different kind of rice. If I were to do brown rice, I would go, so you see what I mean? So you're not going to just search rice, you're going to search for brown rice, right? You're going to search for the kind of food you are actually eating. And a lot of times you also want to put if it's cooked or if it's dry, because if you just do, for example, pasta, okay, here, it's going, you don't know if it's a dry pasta, if it's a, you see what I'm saying? So you want to search it up as it is, cooked, okay? And then it's going to give you better options there. And sometimes if you wouldn't come with the grams, I would put grams right there. Pasta, cooked, grams, and then it's going to give me the option right here. Okay, brown pasta, genetic bounty pasta, or I can just scan, but understand that once you scan the how can I say, the bag of pasta on MyFitnessPal, it's going to be dry. Okay. So that's why you need to figure it out first, like, okay, let me cook this thing, and then I'm gonna measure cooked, because dry is gonna be different than cooked. And then, see what I'm saying? So it gets a little bit confusing if you just don't choose one way that you're gonna measure this. So the same thing would be with oatmeal. Oatmeal, or I would just say oats, cooked. Okay, and then you get that if it is in grams. Is this making sense? So a lot of the things that we see missing there is, and also for your own frustration, is the fact that you are not searching correctly, right? And you just like, I had a client that she was so cute. She, you know, she never measured the food at home and she would eat out all the time and she would log this stuff. And she was like, I'm like, how do you know? And she was gaining weight like a lot. And I was like, this is not normal. How do you know if you, are you measuring at home? She's like, no. So I'm like, I'm so confused. How do you know what is 3 ounces of chicken? You know, you're not measuring. And she's like, no, I don't have time for this, blah, blah, blah. Ah, then I can't help you. You know what I mean? So that's the one thing that we see a lot. Anything else, Coach Lindsay? Hey, Coach Audra. Anything else, Coach Lindsay, that we see when we're doing the check-ins? Any questions that you ladies have on this part alone before we head into Coach Audra sharing how she does meal planning and prep everything on MyFitnessPal and all the hacks that she knows on MyFitnessPal? Any questions when it comes to searching?
Sushi. So like it's already prepared, right? So let's just say you're getting a California roll prepared, right? It's California roll, sushi around it. I mean, if you go to the app, I mean, I've just been putting in, you know, like 4 pieces of, you know, California roll and then doing like that. But you're saying, am I right in saying that you're saying the rice should be logged separately than the other ingredients?
I do. And here's the thing, this work, everybody's different. I don't know if Coach Audra does that or Coach Lindsay, but this is how I do, right? I like to do the hard work up front so I don't have to ever do it again. So I'm not gonna lie to you that I actually have bought sushi first at home and I literally dissected the whole thing. Okay. And I was like, I wonder how much rice it is in the sushi because I can't stand this guessing work anymore.
Yeah, like
right?
where I work, sorry to mean to break in, they make it fresh. So it comes in a little container. There's not even a barcode to scan. So it's like, God, am I eating more than I think I'm eating? You know?
Right. So then the only way you're gonna know, right, is if you actually bring it home, do the hard work first, right? Save yourself the guessing work.
Mhm.
Just one time, you know, bring it home, break it up, because you know that normal is going to be the same size unless
Right.
somebody is very generous. But you know, break it up, put the rice and then measure. Okay, normally, I don't know, it's about 50, 60 grams of rice. I don't want to tell you, I want you to learn for yourself. Grab the sushi, open and do that. Then you got to remember that there is you know, avocado. Is that avocado on the side of this thing or no? If it is, then you already know, okay, how much avocado is probably what, 10 ounces? It's not even 10 grams, something like that, right? Maybe even less. Then now the salmon though, I always was curious about how much salmon, how much fish they actually put on that thing, right? So I remove it and then I put it. So normally it's 8 pieces. And then I just checked how much. And then here's what I do. I always, when I'm logging sushi, I always log salmon. It doesn't matter if I'm eating albacore, if I'm eating tuna, if I'm eating whatever, because the salmon is the one that has the most fat. So at least it's going to cover my butt if they put anything there that I don't know. Makes sense? So I always use salmon. So when I'm putting salmon, I put a sashimi because, you know, sashimi is going to be just the raw fish. And then I put a sashimi. And then normally I'll eat easily 7 to 8 ounces of fish when I'm going sushi. That's average there, right? So then I'm like, when I go dinner, I put 8 ounces of sashimi, salmon sashimi. And then boom, it's already taken. Then I put, you know, if I'm gonna, normally I have 1 roll. So then I put how much rice there is in there. And then I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna have avocado or not. So I just put a little piece of avocado there, makes sense. And then it's covered for that. Let's say that I want edamame. Then I put, you know, 100 grams edamame. And then let's say that I want to have sake, right? Then now I gotta figure out the drinking part, right? I'm gonna search up, super, super important when it comes for the drinking, ladies. If you just search it up like this, okay, right here, sake, it's only going to give you this right here. Okay. It's going to give you the calories. Where are the calories? Calories, 39 for 1 ounce, I guess. But that is no carbs, that is nothing here. Okay, so you are just empty calories there, but the calories has to be counted somehow on your macros. So we need to search up sake macros. I want to take from my carbs. And let's see if this, I have somebody that has done this before. So sake, let's see, quick macros, carbs. Let's see this guy. Nope, not this one. Okay. Where's the carbohydrates? Nope. I mean, 29 divided by 4, that's not going to be. So carbs, macro, I don't know why this one's not coming, but let's see here. Then I got to find one. So 2 options here for me. There you go. Quick macro, add, nope. Sake, Midori, 1 ounce. Bourbon. Huh?
I was just saying maybe the traditional one, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't have, you know what I mean? That's another issue with the app. It doesn't have everything. So that's why we teach you how to calculate. So in this case here, and I don't know, I have tried sake before. I don't know why it's not coming up. Let me just see on my phone if it's coming up here. Hold on. Sake. Macros. Carbs. Sake martini, nope. So interesting, there is none in here. Okay, so in this case, what I will do here as carbs. Yay, I found it, cool. So there you go, so I found one. So this one is sake, oopsie. Okay, so sake dash all calories as carbs. Okay, so that's the one I found. Okay, so let's go there. Okay, so 3.5 ounces. This guy has about 14 grams of carbs. So let's say total calories is 55. So 55 divided by 4. There you go. So this one here would go. So I know that the calories is 55, and if I divide it by 4 is 13.75. So the total carbs is 14 grams. That one will do it. Now, let's just say for the sake of this, since we are here, that you could not find, okay? But you did find that sake only, okay? And you're like, okay, Patricia, I can't find this thing for nothing. I don't know what to do. I'm like, okay, so how many ounces you're gonna have? So let's say that you're gonna have, let's see here, that one, and I'll probably gonna be more than that, right? So let's say 3, okay? So that would be at least those little shots. So now we're gonna have 117 grams. So 117 grams divided by 4, that would be about 30 grams. And it's, I see that it's very, if you calculate wine, if you calculate champagne, if you calculate a vodka, okay, and you're having roughly between 3 to 4 ounces, is going to be most likely around 30 grams of carbs. Okay, just so you know. So let's just say that I put there just to cover my calories. Now, how am I going to add, okay, to cover, to take off my carbs? In that case, if I can't find anything, I'm gonna search for grapes and grams, okay? And then I am going to put here, I don't know how to do this part on this thing here. It's so weird. How would this work? Grapes and grams, there you go. So this one, 100 grams gives me 17 carbs. So I'm gonna need 2 servings, okay? So now I'm roughly about that. Now the app took some extra calories for me, okay? Because the grapes have calories, but it's gonna take the carbs that I need to take, okay? Because if you don't let's say, like I said, if you find a drink that doesn't have the macros that the way that you search, then just add the drink with the calories empty and add something else that would take the carbs, because you know how to calculate you know how to divide the total calories by 4. Make sense? So then you just need to account those carbs coming from somewhere, otherwise you're going to forget. At the end of the night, you're going to look and you're going to be like, oh, I still have 30 grams of carbs left, and you didn't, because you actually, you know, the drink that you chose was empty calories, didn't have any carbs. Is that making any sense or no? Who is confused?
How are you? Why? Let's go back to dividing by 4. I got the calories part, but divided by 4 because you're drinking 4 ounces, or?
I love that question, because 1 gram of carbs has
Oh, that's
4
right.
calories.
That's right.
Okay. Got that?
Can you repeat that?
1 gram of carbs has 4 calories. That's why we divide the total calories by 4. Now, I'm just giving you this so you know, right? But if you saw that if I searched up and I have a little patience, I found the sake with the carbs, right? You will find. But in case you're in a hurry, and if you know how to do the math, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just add some grapes here to cover the alcohol. And I know it's going to go over my calories, but at least I cover my carbs, and I'm not eating extra carbs. Makes sense? Because if you just add the wine without the carbs, right, it's not going to take the carbs from you. So you're going to think you're going to have more carbs left. And that's the downfall of a lot of women, right? A lot of people, they just drink their carbs and they don't think that it's counting. So I'm going to have Coach Otter jump and share what has she got when it comes to her meal plans and your hacks on MyFitnessPal.
I need sharing permission, please.
Yes.
And for those that don't know me, I know I've been missing in action, but I'm in a mentorship right now. So you will see me more coming up like mid-April. So it's very nice to meet those that I have never met before. Let me see, and I've been to the gym like 3 times today. So I look like I've been to the gym 30 times. Okay, so let's get into, I know that some of you ladies definitely want to know how to track a recipe. So I'll start with that first because it's super simple, right? And actually, let me go over here. And so let's say you have, oh, and I know real quick before I do that. So Google is your friend too, right? If you're in a hurry and you like, I don't have time to be searching for in my MyFitnessPal. Do you see what I did? 50 calories in sake. Boom. I mean, just ask Google, right?
I love that. Yeah.
Just ask Google. So there's 39 in 1 full ounces, but typically you are drinking more than 1 full ounces. Also, another thing that I want to piggyback on that Coach Patricia was talking about as far as do the work up front and then you just know. So I love Thai food. I eat at this Thai restaurant all the time. And so Saturday night, I'm in a deficit phase right now. So I haven't eaten out since January. So I ate out Saturday night for the first time since January. So I was super pumped. But I'm trying to stay very rigid in my deficit right now. And so don't be afraid to ask. I literally went into the restaurant and asked for the manager. And I said, hey, you know, I eat here all the time. I eat the same dish all the time. Do you know the nutritional value in this recipe? And of course he didn't. Right. But I was like, so tell me what is in the sauce? Because that's the most fattening thing. I was like, what is in the sauce? And he was like, he broke it down for me. And I said, okay, that helps me out some. And he was like, I said, well, do you actually know how much you're putting in here? He was like, give me a minute and I'll be right back. He literally went back to the kitchen, wrote down exactly like to the ounces of what they put in there. I ordered it one time in separate containers, and they put it in separate containers for me. I brought it home and I did what Coach Patricia did. I weighed it out, everything out. I combined it back together, and now every time I order it, it's already in there. I did that one time, but now I know every time I order it, I know exactly what I'm getting. So don't be afraid to, call a restaurant, ask them, say, hey, you know the nutritional value? No, what's in it? Like, I was making him dig around. I needed to know, I want to eat this. So just don't be afraid to do that.
Or really quick, don't go into, oh my gosh, are you serious right now? I need to do this. Right? Because
Depends on what day of the week.
right, depends on the day of the week. And that's the thing. If you give yourself space and time, you're going to learn those things, right? But you're gonna have to do the work.
But I mean, I did this on a Saturday evening. I had the time to do it, right? It's not like, but again, another reason I did it is because I constantly eat that. And there's a reason why I'm pulling up this recipe. So hang on. I'm trying to just find a random recipe. Okay, here we go. So, because I want to show you how easy this is. So if you have a recipe, once you put a recipe in MyFitnessPal, by the way, it stays there for life. So as I click on recipes right here, can y'all see my screen okay? Let me make it bigger. As I click on my recipes, I mean, I have pages and pages. Do you see how many pages I have down here? They just stay in here for life.
Wow.
So let's just say like this Mediterranean skillet, all I have to do is click log it. If that's what I'm eating, I'll put it on today. Let's say I'm eating it for meal 3, and then one serving, log it. It's gonna log over on MyFitnessPal. So once you get it in here and do the legwork, it stays there. You're good to go. So how do I add that in here? And it's the same way on the app. You just go to the 3 dots, click on recipes, and then add recipe manually. So you're going to name the recipe. I think that was a poke bowl I chose. If you are pulling one off the internet, right? Where did that one go? All you have to do is cut and paste, literally. So I literally can, oh my God, these ads are killing me. I literally can just come over here and like, I won't do all of it, but I literally can just copy, and then, sorry, I have a million things open, and paste, right? And of course, I would
You
just,
just right click and paste,
yeah.
right click and then paste.
Mhm.
Cause I was like manually going, look at the recipe, putting it in, and it doesn't
you-
always match up.
So you literally copy the recipe and then you just paste it there.
I was looking at the recipe that I,
Oh.
had, and then typing it in every single line item.
No, just copy and paste from your recipe online. Now,
Okay.
of course, if you're like putting in your own recipe, your grandma's secret recipe, yeah, you're gonna have to sit here and manually type it.
Right.
But if you're grabbing one off the internet, girl, cut and paste, boom. Then you're gonna hit match ingredients, because you gotta match ingredients.
Mm.
This is the part where you do need to, oh, it wants me to do servings. So let's just say, I'm not gonna go look at the recipe, but let's just say it has 4 servings, right? Or however many servings that you wanna make that recipe be. Then you're gonna click match ingredients, right? And you can always come up here and change the servings too. You do need to make sure that they have matched the ingredient correctly though. So typically what I'll do is I'll go here. So this was tofu. Okay, they've matched. Here's sodium, reduced sodium. reduced sodium. Now, if you actually know the brand, let's say I know the brand of sodium, right? So I want to put the brand in, like BH is not the brand I want to use. I literally can just click on replace.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I can type in, you know, low sodium, let's just say Publix. Let's see if Publix has a brand. Boom, right there. There's low sodium soy sauce, Publix brand. I can go over here and, you know, depending on, let's say the recipe has 4 tablespoons, right? I'm gonna pick tablespoons, change that to 4 tablespoons, click that button, and it replaces it. So now the low sodium sauce is the actual sauce I'm using from Publix.
A quick question, when you're copying and pasting it, does it only work on the desktop? Because I had to do this when we were in the challenge, and I imported the recipe on the app, but I don't remember it asking me to match anything.
Yes, it works the same way on the app because I've done it on my app. So
Okay.
it should have, no, I've never I've always copied and paste. I've never imported. So that's interesting.
Oh, I
It says
see.
on your add from the web, if your recipe is online, we can automatically import the ingredients for you to review, or the second choice is enter ingredients manually.
Yeah, most times I've entered it manually because they're my own recipes.
Right.
But only once I imported one, and I can't remember which one it was, but I don't recall it asking me to match if I imported it, but I'm going to try the copy and paste next time. Thanks.
Well, now I'm going to try imported because so I can answer that question next time because I've actually never done imported. And that may be why it didn't ask you to match because you actually imported the recipe, but I would still think it would do that though. But
Right.
let me do that and I will get back to you on that one.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll let me make myself a note on that, Michelle. And see, okay. So anyways, so I go through, I check everything looks great, right? And then you can either just save it or you can hit save and log it. So let's say I am going to eat this today, so I want to go ahead and log it. Save, log, and it's going to ask me, of course, where to put it. So does all that kind of make sense? And I'm not going to click save, so it doesn't. But like I said, once you get that recipe in there, it stays in there until you delete it. And you can even copy it. So here's another little, let's see if I can find one trick I do. So I have some recipes that one week I'll make it with beef and the next week I'll make it with chicken, right? Just to kind of divvy it up because I like the recipe. So this Philly cheesesteak recipe I have right here is one of those. Sometimes I make it with beef and sometimes I make it with chicken. So when I imported it and originally it was with beef, and then I was like, oh, well, I want to do the same recipe with chicken. So all I did was copy the recipe, and then I went, you can always edit a recipe. You just go into the recipe and click on edit. And I deleted the beef and added chicken. And I left the copy there because I know that I originally put it in as beef and I know the copy is chicken. But you can go up here and rename it chicken too if you want to. That was just really me being lazy, if you want to know the truth. Any questions on recipes?
Oh, wow. I actually just worked on the app and it works. You can import and copy and paste that on the app as well. And matching the ingredients on the app too. That's cool. Okay. All right. That's awesome. Okay. So if you can do that on the app, exactly the same thing you're doing right now, you can do on the app as well.
Yeah. The only thing I don't know is about the imported, if it asks you to match on the imported.
Yes,
But
it does.
Oh, it does? That's what you just did? Okay.
Yep.
You probably just don't remember that.
Do these matches look right? And then it's asking if they look right. So obviously you would have to go back and look at the recipe to make sure that it's matching. But yeah, same concept.
Okay, cool. So then that answers that. So yes, whether you cut and paste or whether you import, then it is going to ask for matching, just to make sure, because I have caught it before where I'm like, that's not even like close to what that should be. So
Right.
just kind of scheme over it and make sure it looks all good. Most of the time it does, but always double check. Because I have caught something that was not right and it
Mhm.
really was throwing off like the macros. So what else do you guys want to know? Do you have any questions so far?
I have
Yeah,
a
I know
quick que-
Christy has questions. I'm like, Chris,
Yeah.
jump in, girl.
Jump in.
Yeah, so are you able to like share your recipe? Like, you know how nowadays you can share anything, right? Can you like is there a share button and you could text it to me or send it to my personal fitness pal from your fitness pal? Is there any kind of functionality there?
I think you might can do that from the app, but you cannot do it from the desktop. I think I remember reading that, but I need to hang on a second. Let me look for my app. Let me pull up. Let's see.
I don't think so, because I tried to do it with my son because he's also on my fitness app, and I couldn't figure out how to share the recipe with him that I had to. So I just re-imported all the ingredients in his own fitness app and created the recipe there. But if somebody knows how, that would be great.
Good.
I will ask my fitness pal. So
What about, okay, I have an idea. I don't know how it would work, but like, Patricia sent me of our macros friendly recipe guide. And then she has on there my fitness pal entry, like basically what you want to type in to search. So
Mhm.
maybe could you like this, just an example, LFF sloppy Joe sweet potato bowls.
right.
So maybe if like Audra named her dish like Audra's Mediterranean skillet, does that put it in the whole MyFitnessPal database so that if I were to search it, maybe you wouldn't have to send it to me. I could just,
Search and find it.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking because
So I don't know. I'd have to try.
I
think
think
you
you can.
I think you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so you would just, when you implement it, Audra, you would just, you would have to name it as you, and then because it'll save it in the database, and then you can say, hey, here's my skillet recipe, everyone.
yeah, because
Attach it.
that would be pretty cool.
Audra's just gonna have to make a recipe book for all of
Yeah, she is.
Oh my gosh, please do it.
them.
Yes.
All right, so let's see
I
if we
just
search
copy
that.
recipes. I don't come up with them. I copy recipes. Let me
Yeah,
see.
that
I
Let's
made
see here.
last night, the one that Patricia sent on the macro recipes. I made that shrimp, the shrimp with asparagus and pasta. And I was
Yeah.
able to just type in the name and it came right up. In the, like when you're logging.
Yeah, I need
they-
to ask my the girl that puts that together for me how she does that, because I just give her the names and she just puts it together.
Yeah, and it came right up. I mean, I typed it in as the recipe name was, and it came up with all the correct measure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's, and I
There's
did it for the,
when you add a recipe or you add a food, you type in the name and then all of the details. So it'll come up as that. Yeah.
Well, that's not working. So
No. Coach Lindsay, how did you say that you can do it?
So like with your recipes that you sent out, there's a code that says love yourself to the core, but it's like love LL, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So when you type in that certain code, that LL, it will pop up, and then you just click on that, and then you would put the one serving or however many servings, but normally you'd only have the one. So it does do that. And I put in a recipe, and it will say you would have to name that recipe. And then when you do that, like you can put AV, skillet, whatever, and then it should save it in the database, and then you can just look that up.
So where on the data, where does it show the database there? Like the option over here? Because she's doing that, but it's not doing it.
Yeah, because I think this is just my personal. This is just my personal,
Hello.
recipe.
Hello.
Oh,
Yeah,
database. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Because if you're creating a recipe though,
Yeah, we can work on that on the next call for the coaches, and then we can, if we can really do that with Coach Audrey's too, then we can just share with the clients the names of all of them, you know what I mean? We can ask Jalisa how she's putting the whole thing together for me.
So just real quick, one other thing I wanted to show you guys, just to make sure you're aware. So if you're, of course, once you put a food constantly in your MyFitnessPal, it's always there, right? So this, my meal one right here is breakfast. So if I click on add food, it's already going to populate most of the stuff I eat all the time. Boom,
Right.
it's right there. All I have to do is check it and add it. If you're a repetitive eater, I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. So literally all I do is do quick tools and copy, which usually I do it the next day, but just copy from today, right? Meal one. Then it just dropped it in. So it should be, well, it should be everywhere.
How do you do that from the app though?
Oh, from the app?
Yeah.
So you open up your app, okay, you're on your, you just click on the 3 dots. And then see where it says copy from date.
Oh, I see.
And so you can choose.
It said copy from date. Okay, got it.
And so that's how you copy from the.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Are you serious? I didn't even know this. This is so good. Oh my gosh, because I know breakfast. Breakfast, I literally just slide and then it populates the whole thing. Do you know what I'm talking about, ladies? Like if you do, for example, breakfast today and you click add, as well, it's not doing it. I know where am I? It will show right here on breakfast, like slide for yesterday's breakfast, and then you can literally just slide like that and it will populate your entire breakfast from yesterday if you're repeating that one. Didn't know. I knew, but this I didn't know. This is awesome.
I keep doing that, but it's doing that for whatever reason. I guess because I'm sharing. What meal is
I love it. Okay, this is fantastic.
What else? So yeah, if you're a repetitive eater, use your quick tools, right?
Yeah.
If you have something, of course, if you have the premium, you can scan. Use your scanner, which is, of course, on your app. So always use your scanner if you need to.
So do you believe that scanning the food is accurate?
Yeah, I mean, you can double check it too, right? So you just scan it, look at the back of it, make sure it matches, and then boom, log it.
But I'm talking about, you scan because you know how you can scan the plate, that is that option. You know what I mean?
No, I don't trust that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I trust that either. Yeah, so don't do that, ladies, because you would need to know for sure your foods, because it is an option, right? When you're searching scan meal, like you don't want to do that.
So you just have something that just works for me, because I am a repetitive eater. I eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch every day. So that's the first thing I put in. I put in my breakfast and lunch every day. I pretty much eat the same snack most of the time every day. My dinner is different. So I put in the things I know I'm going to eat for the day, and then I look and see what I have left. and this is what I have left to get that last meal in for the day. And, sometimes do I have to adjust breakfast and lunch? Maybe maybe I have to take away an ounce from here, a grape there to make it all work. But it only takes seconds because I'm only having to typically adjust 50 grams here or 50 grams there. I'm going to eat what I want to eat. It's just the portion sizes. Some days I have more of it. Some days I can have less of it, depending on, what my macros are for the day and, what my dinner is, because my dinner is the one that usually is different. I do meal prep for the week, so it is very simple for me because I do know what I'm eating Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Because I do cook, I meal prep everything on the weekends. I take a couple of hours on Saturday, usually a couple of hours on Sunday. I don't do it all at once because if I did, it would drive me crazy. So that's just, I just have created a routine for myself that, if you have something you're going to roast in the oven, I mean, you can multitask, right? Are you doing laundry? Are you working? I mean, ask Patricia. I burnt sweet potatoes the other week during our meeting because I was multitasking. So you just always got to think if there's something that you can roast in the oven for 30 minutes while you're doing something else, right? Throw it in the oven, set your timer, and then go about your day. Or sometimes I try to get up in the mornings 30 minutes early and I'm like, oh, I'm getting low on vegetables. So I will see myself some vegetables while I'm fixing my breakfast.
Right. I think that, we got to finish the call here really soon too. You got to create a system, right? This thing right here is not done for you. It's done with you. So we're walking with you as you are creating a system that is going to work for you. Because if you create a system for you, then it's over. Nobody can take that thing from you. It's for the rest of your life. You know how to do this, right? So that's why we are doing these calls. We jump on calls with you because we want you to learn this, right? That's number one. So create your system. My system, Coach Audra just explained to you her system. My system is lunchtime. That's when I log my stuff. And because I repeat my breakfast and my lunch, you know what I mean? It's there. Then snack, I may change. I change dinner, whatever. Right. So I have my system. So your system may be that you need to do this the night before. We find for a lot of people, if you do the night before, you are in a much better place and you just leave, your dinner open. Right. So that way you can have that freedom for dinner. Right. But in the beginning, though, you're going to have to buckle down and you're going to have to feel a little bit restrict, not in what you eat, but in how you're going to track, right? Once again, choose your heart, right? Something's going to have to be inconvenient because if it wasn't, then everybody would look fit, right? Everybody would be in amazing shape. So there's always an inconvenience to anything that we want to do to improve ourselves. But if you stick to it, you are going to become a pro. Coach Lindsay, do you have just a couple of tips on what you do that you find that is super effective?
Yeah. I usually plan out my meals the night before and I know what I'm going to have for my breakfast. I know what I'm going to have for my lunch because usually what I had for dinner the day before is what I have for lunch. So I just copy and paste, right? Dinner, I'll plan out ahead, but then I'll enter it the night before, right? What I like to do, my last couple of meals, I'll leave a little bit of wiggle room and I will focus on single macro foods. So you got to know what is just a protein base. So like non-fat Greek yogurt, organic chicken bone broth, those are fantastic, just a protein source, right? Then you can adjust, and I get those big tubs, so then you can measure out your own right? As opposed to buying the already pre-packaged ones, right? So then you can measure out how much protein you need. And then I think for carbs, just know your carb sources. I've got fruit, I've got vegetables, right? Those are carb sources. Sweet potatoes are fantastic, right? What I like to do is I'll do non-fat Greek yogurt, and then I'll add my blueberries. And then for my fat is usually walnuts, right? So you got to know specifically like your macro sources, because you can also get foods that also contain fat and carbs, or protein and carbs, or so you got to, that's why I say leave a little bit of wiggle room with your last meal, and then just single out macro foods, and then you can just add them individually.
Right. I love it. Melanie, I know you are queen of hitting macros. Do you want to share a couple of tips?
Well, I think the tips that Lindsay just gave are pretty good. I like that single source macro, but definitely if I don't plan ahead, it's really hard for me to stick to the macro. So even if I do it in the morning, while I'm drinking coffee, kind of figure out what I'm going to do that day. And then I know if I change something, or if we decide to go out to dinner instead, I kind of still know these are the macros I have to stick within, because I already ate those other things.
What do you found that worked for you in the beginning with me? Because you were, messaging me all the time with restaurants, things like, so just share a couple of tips on that.
Yeah, going out was probably hard. I think it still is, because you're, unless you bring it home and dissect it, you're hoping that you know what they're serving you. So eating at home helped me. I use an app for my meal planning, the recipes, and the chicken bone broth in the morning really helped to hit the protein.
Right. Yeah. And then reaching out, right? Reaching out for help. Like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm stuck
for
here.
sure.
I remember you were sitting at a restaurant and you're like, well, if I'm available, I'll answer, right? If I'm not, then I'm sorry. But if I'm available, she would send me messages. I'm literally in a restaurant and everything changed and I don't know why. And we would go, okay, what are the options? So it is what it is,
Yeah.
Some days it's going to be just, it is what it is, you're going to plan and it's going to go downhill and you're going to be like, oh crap, that one didn't go, but it's part. You're only going to learn through the process, right? Makes sense?
Yeah.
Melanie, what app did you use for recipes? You said you used some app.
Yeah, it's called e-meals. So like just the letter E and the word meals. And they have different recipes that they suggest each week. And then I pick the ones I want that I think my family will eat. And I send my shopping list right to Walmart, and then they deliver the groceries to my house.
Okay, cool.
I love it.
And it has the macros in there, or you got to put it together?
It does. It tells you the main entree and then the sides, which a lot of times I don't eat the sides that are on there. It's like a bowl of spaghetti or something. So I might substitute depending on my macro day. If I'm on a low carb day, I just substitute, but my family eats pasta or rice every night.
Okay.
Right.
Cool,
So
thanks.
I think you can see here, for example, just for background, like Melanie has how many kids, Melanie?
2 boys.
2 boys, teenagers, right?
Yeah, and one eats hardly anything.
Right. Lindsay has 2 small kids, right? What age?
7 and 4.
Right. And you guys figured out a way to make sure that the whole family is eating, right? That you're not always separating your foods, right? So super, super important to reach out to the community, especially on our Facebook group, because, I'm single. My son has moved out. I feed myself. So I'm like, I buy everything ready, right? So if that's you, then you come to me, right? You're a mom, you have little kids, you go to Coach Lindsay because she will give you those tips. Melanie, you can ask on the group, hey, with your teenagers, what you do. Coach Audra, she's married and she has a dog, so she still needs to cook for her husband. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to cook for anybody. I'm like selfish by myself. I love it. So that's me right now. But you can always find somebody that has the same lifestyle and see what is working for them and ask, right? Unfortunately, I don't have all the answers. I wish I did, I just learned a few things today with Coach Audra again that I didn't even know because I don't use it, right? But that's what a team is. We bring everybody and then everybody share their ideas and then it becomes this huge, right? That's why I say share on Facebook, post your recipes, post what is working for you, because it's one thing that it can help so many people. Make sense? So don't be afraid to ask questions on the Facebook group. Don't get stuck. If you're stuck, it's because you're not reaching out, right? All right, ladies, this call went over 15 minutes. We will be sending you another invite just so you know, every call now, it's going to be sent invite to your Google calendar, because we realized that you ladies were getting too many messages on Monday and it was confusing on Trainerize. So to make things a little bit cleaner, we are just going to send these Monday calls on your calendar. So just accept them so that way you can, Lisa's like, yes. So then you know you can accept or just reject or whatever. But we're going to be having a lot of amazing things coming down into the pipeline. So stay plugged in so you can continue progressing and getting all the resources that you need. We love coaching you. Keep it up, and we will see you on the check-ins tomorrow. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.